As a Christian who loves video games, it pains me that there are so few examples of Christian video games done well. As someone on YouTube put it, the approach of many Christian games is simply a recipe for boring the player, distorting the scriptures, and satisfying no one. Well, here I want to present my vision for how things could be done differently. And it's an approach I'm trying to put into practice in the adventure game that I'm developing called Ebenezer. One of the problems with a lot of Christian video games is that they really make you feel like you're being preached at. Games are supposed to be fun. After all, I play them when I want to relax. And yet to play some of these games, you'd think I was in a tedious Sunday school lesson, being told how I should live or what I should know. To be honest, I'm just not listening. Well, I want to contend that the problem isn't that these games are too preachy. It's that they're really not nearly preachy enough. True preaching isn't just about conveying information or telling me what I'm doing wrong. Preaching is about seeking to win my heart for Christ, so that I feel it in my very bones just how awesome he is. It's the difference between preaching and merely teaching someone. Take this jar of honey. Teaching reads the nutritional information. It tells me it's pretty good for me. But preaching makes me imagine what it would be like to eat this honey, to get a little bit on my spoon right now, and oh, it looks pretty good. I think I'll try some. Man, that is good. It's my fundamental conviction that preaching the Bible is God's main means of working in the world. And when it's done well, it's truly exhilarating. There's nothing tedious about good preaching. So that's my primary goal in making Ebenezer. To win hearts and minds for Christ, and to call people to respond to the message of his word. A secondary goal, a nice side effect of doing that, is to give people confidence in the Bible, to show them that it can be understood, and that once you understand it, it's really very exciting. I think there have been so many bad Christian games that a lot of Christian game developers have really lost confidence in making their games explicitly Bible-based. But I think that's such a shame. A good gaming experience takes you on a journey. It doesn't assume where you're at the start. It gets you on board, gets you thinking, and makes you engage with its theme. A recent game that I think did a brilliant job of this was Braid by Jonathan Blow. It explores all kinds of ideas about forgiveness, about wiping the slate clean, undoing stuff you really regret. A bit like that film Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, if you've seen that, although they both take very different approaches. Because of that, I think a game can reach all kinds of people who would never think to open the Bible for themselves. People who are visual learners, people who aren't big readers, people who don't think of themselves as religious at all. The other great thing about a game is that it gives you an opportunity to explore at your own pace and to ask questions. You can be really leisurely and chat to all the NPCs and ask them what's going on, get them to explain things. Or if you prefer, you can just whiz through, do the bare minimum that's necessary to beat the game.
Whoa, you're like George Washington. Very much like him, according to my wife, Mrs. Washington.
One of my favourite examples of this in a game is from Day of the Tentacle. There's this room where you can meet with the founding fathers of America 200 years ago, like George Washington and John Hancock, and you can ask them all kinds of crazy questions. And as someone who knows nothing about American history, being from England, I really enjoyed that opportunity to find out a bit more about them. I know a lot of it's made up, but it's just a really fun way of learning stuff at your own pace. Everyone loves a good story. So done well, these games should be accessible to anybody, of all faiths and none, young and old. On the other hand, something like a Bible quiz game, well, that's never going to have a broad appeal, however well done it is. Because it seems to me it simply assumes too much about people's prior interest. But if you treat your players with respect, seek to engage with them where they're at, then I think people would be willing to give you a hearing. It's also important never to forget that you're making a game. It's supposed to be fun, so you don't want to take yourself too seriously. Adventure games like Monkey Island work brilliantly because of their sense of humour. It's the same with Portal. A bit of humour is a really crucial counterbalance to all the thinking you have to do in a puzzle game.
So, you want to be a pirate, eh? You look more like a flooring inspector.
Of course I want to treat God's word itself with the utmost respect, but there's a lot of scope for doing that whilst injecting humour into the way you tell the story. Monkey Island itself is like that. The story is actually pretty dark and serious, but it's the details of it that are done in a way that make you laugh, and that really gets people on sides. Age-wise, my game Ebenezer probably has a minimum age due to the puzzle-solving element and so on. But besides that, the beauty of a story-driven game is that it needn't be limited to one narrow demographic. As long as people can relate to your story, they're going to keep playing.